We got a Brian Reynolds trade report coming out of Toronto. We also got an update on Carlos Rodon. So we'll break that down and much more in this episode of Jay's Digest. What's up, Jays fans? I'm your host, Peter Vryonis, alongside host Nick Gosse, and we got a lot to get into today. First, I want to thank you all for the support. It's been unreal. We're so close to 5K subscribers by Christmas time, and it's looking pretty good. I think we'll hit it.
Yeah, that's the goal. And again, if we hit 5K before Christmas, we have something special planned. And we're gonna be doing weekly live streams as well, which we'll touch on more in tomorrow's video. But let's just get right into the first topic of today's video, which is a massive trade update coming out of the Brian Reynolds camp. So I'll pop up the first screenshot here, which goes on to say Brian Reynolds of the Blue Jays is one trade scenario under discussion, as I mentioned today on MLB Network. Now, before we get into another screenshot here, what are your initial thoughts on that? I know it's kind of been floated out there, but it kind of died out because the Pirates apparently weren't really shopping him. But I think maybe they realized that keeping someone who doesn't want to play for your team is not the best idea.
No, it's not the best idea, especially not for the Pirates who are rebuilding. And I know he has years of control left. I think 3 more years till he hits free
So, yeah.
agency. But it doesn't make sense for them to keep a guy like Brian Reynolds around when they can really set themselves up for the future. Because in 3 years, they're still not going to be competing for a World Series. Maybe in 5 years, they will be. They have a lot of prospects in the pipeline waiting to come up to the major leagues. They don't need a catcher, but we still got a pretty good trade offer that we can put together for one of the league's best players and a switch hitter too. So I'd love Brian Reynolds on my team. I've been very vocal about going out and getting Brian Reynolds because we have not had any luck on the free agent market this year. So do whatever it takes to get him.
Yeah, Brian Reynolds alongside Nimmo would be basically as perfect fits as you could have gotten. Obviously, Nimmo's back to the Mets now, unfortunately, but Reynolds is basically the next best bet there. I'll pop out another screenshot here, and this was from basically a few days ago, and this is kind of what got the report going, saying the Blue Jays are a team to watch in the Brian Reynolds front. They have interest in him and want to add an athletic switch hitter to the outfield based on strong industry interest. Jays would likely need to include Tiedemann or Martinez. Now, we'll touch on this real quickly now. I don't know if I would include Tiedemann. I know you've been vocal that you would. I would definitely include Orelvis Martinez. They're kind of not even on the same planet for me, value-wise. But would you include Ricky Tiedemann in a potential deal for Brian Reynolds?
I would, and we have another screenshot here about a former draft pick from the Toronto Blue Jays, a first-round draft pick, TJ Zoik. So I'll use him as an example. This guy, he's 6'7". He doesn't throw incredibly hard, but he was a first-round pick. He was pegged to be in our starting rotation, and he just never panned out. He's now 27 years old. He's bouncing around the league, and he just signed a minor league deal with the Colorado Rockies with an invite to Major League Camp. So this just shows you that you can't really pour all your eggs into one basket. You can't really hope that your prospects pan out because it doesn't usually happen. And I've been very vocal, not just on Tiedemann, but on any front. You trade prospects for proven talent. And you said it before, Brian Reynolds is the perfect fit maybe after Brandon Nimmo.
Yeah.
I think he's a better fit than Brandon Nimmo because we don't have to pay him for 9 years. We pay him for only the next 3 years at least. And we have him on a controllable deal. Sorry. We don't have to pay him 25 plus million. So I think this is the perfect fit. I know Tiedemann's going to be a very good pitcher in the major leagues. Lefties that throw 97 plus don't come around very often, but I'm in the camp that you trade unproven prospects for proven major league talent any day of the week.
Yeah, and Brian Reynolds, that's a really good point on the salary front. We want him to pay him for at least another 3 years if we were to trade for him. And I'll just quickly pop up the screenshot you're referring to there. TJ Zoik is in an agreement with the Rockies, formerly a first-round pick. You know, we thought he was going to potentially pan out, and unfortunately it didn't work out. But another screenshot to pop up here. This is from just a fan on Twitter saying Ricky Tiedemann should be considered untouchable. That includes for Brian Reynolds. There are very few left-hander starters who can average 95, even in the MLB. You don't trade that kind of player. Some people responding saying Kikuchi, because Kikuchi averages 95. However,
exactly.
I think I would trade Tiedemann if we also get someone like David Bednar in the deal. I don't know if I would do a straight up 1-for-1, maybe, but like it's a good point with Zook. You know, cherishing these prospects only gets you so far, especially when you're trying to win. So it's I don't know, it's a very very interesting situation here, and I don't know, but we'll see what happens on the trade. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's not like Brian Reynolds doesn't fit the Jays timeline either. I mean, he's 27 years old. Let's look at the Jays' best players. Alek Manoah's mid-20s, 20, 23, 24. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., 24. Bo Bichette, 24, turning 25. So they all match up, and Matt Chapman's 29. George Springer's a little bit on the older side, but we have a core of players here that really align with one another. And I think getting a guy like Brian Reynolds, it kind of enhances your window in a sense because you're not waiting for Tiedemann. He's not going to come up this year. He's not going to come and help us this season. He's not ready yet. It's not fair to throw a 20-year-old into a major league rotation yet. It just doesn't make sense. It'll stunt his development. So he's not ready yet. So you have to wait a whole other year before you get anything out of Tiedemann in the major league level. So look, if you can get Brian Reynolds for at least 3 years in exchange for a prospect that is unproven, then you do it. I know he's going to be good. He's got great control. He's got good stuff, but I mean, you can't wait. You can't wait because you haven't signed any of your stars to an extension, and it's the time now. You got to go all in.
Yeah, some people were saying that Tiedemann might be ready to come up this year, maybe like towards the end or half. And if that happens, like a Manoah situation, then maybe. But yeah, it's definitely won't be for the later half. And cherishing your prospects only gets you so far. And I think that's kind of the point now is we're trying to win. So holding on to all these prospects, who most of them don't even pan out anyway, as a whole around the MLB is not the best idea. So we'll get into the second and final topic of the video, which is potentially Rodon as a future Blue Jay. Now, this is obviously a bit of a pipe dream, but a promising report came out the other day saying the Dodgers, Rangers, Mets, Twins, Orioles, and possibly the Blue Jays are among those interested in Rodon. And then it goes on to say the Mets team. This is a bit before Nimmo, but yeah, what are your thoughts on the Jays showing some interest on Rodon? It's the first time that, and that was from John Heyman, the first time any reporter has said that the Blue Jays are even interested in Rodon. So that's a bit of something. We're reaching here in the sense of we want some news to happen, but maybe they're
Yeah.
pivoting to Rodon after they missed out on literally everyone else so far.
Well, they should be, but I'm not buying any stock into any of these rumors until anything actually happens. So I'm I'm not getting my hopes up. I think Rodon would be the perfect fit. We still need a lefty in our rotation, a good lefty at that. So, no, he would be the perfect fit. But like I said, I'm not. I'm taking this with a grain of salt until something actually happens or a formal offer has been made. I'm treading with caution here. I don't want to. I don't want to like buy any stock into it for sure.
Yeah,
Not yet.
I'm in the same boat now after all these rumors. But again, like you said, Rodon is a left-hander, which we need. Throws gas. Has been phenomenal the past 2 seasons. I'm a bit skeptical because before the big 2020, he was kind of 4 ERA and above. So I don't know. It's a bit. Maybe he made a major
He's got
adjustment, but
injury history too.
yeah.
He's
So
got he's had shoulder problems a lot. So it but that's what it is. It's a buyer's market right now, so you're gonna have to be willing to pay and outbid some other teams. He's looking for a payday. It's probably gonna be his last big contract in the major leagues, so I think he's gonna chase the money, and if the Blue Jays can give it to him, then I'm sure he'll definitely consider coming to Toronto.
yeah, he's looking for I believe a 7 year deal at the very minimum. So maybe a probably 30 million AAV based on what this market's going for. So maybe I don't know. I feel like the Jays would rather just go for Ross Stripling based on their approach so far to the offseason. I have another screenshot here, the last one of the video. So this was from Keith Law's rankings on the Athletic, I believe. The top out of the top free agents remaining, here are the Jays' likelihood, and I want to focus on Rodon here because we're going to be touching on some of those other players potentially in future videos, specifically Jerks and Profile. But Rodon, competitive market, but a strong maybe in the sense of the likelihood that the Jays land him. Now, that's another reporter saying it's possible. Obviously, like you said, it's all speculation at this point, but I don't know. Especially yesterday, the news started to pick up around Rodon and the Blue Jays because before we didn't really hear anything about it. Now it's finally starting to get some traction. I think it's mostly due to the fact that Nimmo signed elsewhere, though.
Yeah, Rodon obviously sticks out in there, and Carlos Correa. I mean, we saw what shortstops are getting on the open market right now, whether it be Trey Turner or Xander Bogaerts, and he's better than both of them. So I don't even want to begin to imagine what he's going to get on the open market. Maybe 350 million, maybe similar to an Aaron Judge type contract. He deserves it. He's very good. He's stud defensively, and I think he's the type of player that'll age well because he can move over to third base if he loses a bit of his range. But one name that sticks out in that list over there to me, besides Rodon, obviously, is Jurickson Profar. Now, They said it themselves. Could be a sneaky good get. This guy's a switch hitter. He's had some up and down years in the past, but last year with the San Diego Padres, he looked unbelievable, and he can play all over in the infield, in the outfield. He's a true utility player. He's a good hitter. He's pretty fast as well. Solid defender wherever you decide to put him. So that could also be a pretty good shout because San Diego Padres right now have kind of a logjam in the outfield. They have to move Fernando Tatis once he gets back from his suspension. So that could be a name to look after as well, or even Trent Grisham. We've talked about him too.
Yeah, we'll definitely be having some more videos covering maybe some of the lower key players because most of the big ones are going away. But Profar is a phenomenal example, especially with Tatis and them obviously signing their new shortstop. So that's gonna wrap up this video. Let us know in the comments which player you prefer if you had to pick one out of the two we discussed today. And sport's been unbelievable. Road to 5K, and we'll see you guys in tomorrow's video.
Thanks.